When I was pregnant with my now 8-year-old son, at that point in time, I had a church job at a large Episcopalian church, the church from whence Octarium came. And there was one particular Sunday, it was a very busy musical Sunday. My Octarium sang, the larger chancel choir sang, the children's choir, they were doing a little musical, so they sang. I had a smaller group of volunteer adults who also sang. It was very busy, lots of ensemble singing. And when it was all over, a couple who used to always sat in the same spot, in the same pew every week, came up to me afterwards and shook my hand in that very sincere way and said, "Oh, Krista, it was fantastic. It was just fantastic. But I've got to say, I feel sorry for your unborn child." And I said, "What?" And they said, "Well, you know, I can tell by the look on your face and the way you work with your singers, your kids, all the way through your older adults, that you have such high expectations and you will not accept anything but their best. And that's going to be hard for your unborn child to live up to." And I was a little hormonal and a little taken aback, but it made me think. It made me think about expectations. Just recently, I had another occasion to think about the same thing about expectations. I was music directing the Narnia the musical, and of course, Narnia the musical has four children leads. You know, the Edmund and Susan and Peter and Lucy are all children. So Lucy is the youngest child in the book. I don't know how old she is in the book, but we had a little 10-year-old girl playing her. And she was a lovely girl, but she was not living up to the producer's expectations of what she ought to be able to do. And so they were hard on her in a way that was hard for me to watch. And that made me think again, because they pushed her farther than I would have pushed her had I been in charge. But she survived and she did it, and she did improve. She didn't improve probably by the leaps and bounds that they would have liked to see, but she did improve. And as I was watching them push her harder than I would push, I thought back to that conversation I'd had with that couple 9 years ago about how my expectations are too high, and how I don't accept anything less than the best. And I have come to the conclusion that that is true. I have very high expectations, but my expectations are always based on what's possible at the time. What is the best you can give me at the very time I'm asking you for that? Certainly next week you might be better, or next week you might be worse, but right now, today, what you brought in the room with you, with your emotions, your history that day, how you're feeling mentally and physically, all of that, you come in a package. Everybody you work with comes in a package, and that package is what you have to deal with that day. And there are many, many people in the world, many very professional people who can leave their package behind and come in and consistently give high quality, their best work all the time. Those people are few and far between. Most people bring their lives in with them, and you have to work around their lives and work around their insecurities that day, or their boasts that day. They think they're really, really good at something that day that they're not necessarily good at, and you have to deal with that. Or they suddenly think they're really bad at something because somebody said something, and they're not bad at it. Somebody was trying to give them constructive criticism, and it was taken wrong, or somebody was trying to mess with them. So you have to either build them up or bring them down. And you have to massage and mold until you get the best that you can get from that person that day. And that's what high expectations are about. It's not expecting the impossible. It's not setting a level in a vacuum and saying, you will reach this level. It is looking at the talents that you have, at the training that you have, at the attitude that you have, at the positive energy that you have, and working with all of that to build all of that up. And then when performance time comes, they give all that they can give. It might not be perfect. It might not be exactly what you were expecting. But if they're doing their best and giving their all, that's all you can ask for. And people will do their best and give their all when they're feeling like they can, when they're feeling like there's nothing to lose, when they're feeling that they're safe to try something they've never tried before, that if they make a mistake, you're not going to scream at them or break down and throttle them. If they make a mistake, it's learning. I always tell my kid, my 8-year-old kid, who those people were so worried about, you know what, how do you learn? How did you learn not to touch that stove? You touched it. It was hot. Ouch, you learned. So every time we make a mistake, we learn. And if we keep making the mistakes, that's one thing. But if we keep progressing forward, then the expectations keep rising. So give people your very best, But always know that there's more, that your very best today is not going to be the same as your very best tomorrow. Sometimes you go down, sometimes you go up, but your best varies. Therefore, people's expectations of you should vary as well. Have a good week.